If your VW, Skoda or Seat engine light is on the 1.2 TSI petrol engine and is displaying a timing correlation fault, and also maybe the engine is rattling and very noisy, particularly on startup and when the engine is cold, the chances are the timing chain is ready for replacement. And in this video I will be showing you how it is replaced. But before we start, here's the sound of the engine with the worn timing chain. So let's get started. We need to make a little bit of space, so let's get the carbon filter out of the way first. And then the fuel and water pipes need unclipping from the timing belt cover. And then we can start loosening the timing belt cover. Just a few around the top, and then there's 3 across the bottom, which you can see here. This might be held on with a little bit of sealant, and we'll just pop off nice and easily, and then it'll give us access to the top of the timing chain and top pulley. The only other real thing we need to do up here is make access for the locking pin kit. Just this Torx 30 on the breather pipe, and then this will just slide out. And as you can see when we get in there, there's just a D. There's a big D and a little d. This corresponds with the locking tool that you're going to fit when you lock the engine off later. This is the lock kit that I used, very inexpensive, and there will be a link to follow. And just while we're here, right down here is the tensioner. So now we need to get the vehicle supported and get the road wheel off, and then we can remove the inner wheel arch liner. Here's the auxiliary belt. Take note of the routing, because it's quite complicated if it's the first time you've done this, and then it's really easy to remove. A spring-loaded tensioner just here. Apply the tension, and then using a drill bit or something suitable like I have here will lock the tensioner off. Then the belt will easily slide away. We now need to lock off the crankshaft. So there's a little bracket on the back of the engine which needs removing, and then we can see and access the crankshaft locking pin plug. And this is just an Allen key and just needs removing so that we can put the locking pin into position. But before you do that, we need to check and insert the camshaft locking tool. In this case, it wasn't anywhere near, as you can see. So we just need to get it just before top dead center. If it doesn't fit, just turn the engine until it gets somewhere near like this. And with that done, you can now insert the crankshaft locking tool. Just screw this in all the way until it stops, and then we can turn the crankshaft pulley and it will actually butt up with the web from the crank onto the locking pin, like so. You will definitely know when this has happened because it will not turn anymore. Then now we can go back up top and we can just check and see if our camshaft locking tool has aligned, and you can see it is out a little bit, which would suggest why it's running rough and the timing correlation fault has occurred. If you just get a spanner on the camshaft pulley, you should just be able to turn this a little bit so that it does go in, and you can see definitely that there is a lot of wear in that timing chain. And now we can remove the crankshaft pulley bolt. I like to use a decent impact gun. It normally loosens these absolutely fine, and you can see that the crankshaft oil seal is leaking a little bit there as well too. Fortunately, there's one in the new kit. Now we need to concentrate on removing the bolts on the front cover and the 4 along the front of the sump, and then the front cover should quite easily lift down. And with that off, the free play in the timing chain becomes more evident at the bottom here, as you can see. The cam sprocket now needs removing. So if you've got a camshaft holding tool, you could use this now. I just managed to use a pry bar screwdriver to lock it off, and then we could just remove it with the breaker bar. And then once that's loose, we can release the tensioner. This needs removing completely, and we do have a new one in the timing kit. And all that's left to remove now is the two guides, one on the left and the right hand side of the timing chain, and then the chain will come free. And while we're here, it's definitely worth checking the oil pump chain. You may find a bit of free play, but if it's really excessive, then it will need changing. On this occasion, it was decided against. And then back up top, just remove the top pulley bolt, and the pulley and chain will lift up. Now that we've reached the halfway mark, we're going to have to prepare for the new timing chain kit. So we need to give everything a really good clean so that we don't have any oil leaks or anything like that. I find using something like a Stanley blade is really good for taking off any sealant and thick debris. Let me know what you think, what you use, with a comment below. And finish it off with emery paper. This will give it a really smooth finish. If you think back earlier, we saw that the timing was out slightly on the camshaft. We just need to make sure that if we just turn the camshaft and lock it off correctly at this point, the tool should be flush with the cylinder head. So I opted for the Fabia timing chain kit. Really good quality parts. This comes with everything that you'll need. The chain, the tensioner, the guides, the pulley bolt, and even the oil seal. And not to forget the camshaft pulley. There are different kits available subject to your requirements. I will link to our Linktree page at the end with the parts that I used in this video. This should save you some time when buying the parts, and I've tried to find the best available prices. Grab your new timing chain and the camshaft pulley, and then just send that down into the engine like so. Then put the camshaft pulley bolt in. Don't tighten this fully just yet. Do it so that it can move. You'll see why in a little while. Place it round the crankshaft pulley, and then we can slide the guides up and get those bolted up. Once you've got these in place, you will notice that they are free floating. Don't worry about this. I'm sure that this is just part of the design. We can now go back up top, and we can concentrate on the tension of the timing chain and also tightening that camshaft sprocket. Take that new tensioner and fit it into the left hand side of the engine and tighten it up fully. This will take out any free play that is remaining in the timing chain, and then it is at this point we can tighten the camshaft sprocket. So the camshaft sprocket needs tightening to 50 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. I would recommend using the camshaft holding tool, or find a method that works for you at your own risk. I used a pry bar like I did when I removed the pulley. And as you can see, everything is nice and tight and snug and is ready for the front cover. But before we put the front cover on, we need to double check the timing. In order to do this, we need to remove both the timing tools, turn the crankshaft 2 full revolutions, and then reinstall the timing tools. Remember to do it just before TDC so that we can check that the timing is correct. And once you're happy with the timing, we can proceed by reinstalling the bottom engine cover and all the remaining parts. Don't forget to remove the crankshaft oil seal whilst this is off, and make sure you put a fresh bead of sealant on the cover before you fit it. I like to use this stuff, it's absolutely fantastic. And then the oil seal will slide down the fitting tool, and I find using a suitable size socket and then just knock the seal in carefully until it is flush with the front cover. And then while you've got the lock tools in, tighten the crank bolt 90 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. Reinstall the timing blanking plugs and then just double check that the crank turns freely. Give it 2 full complete revolutions just to be sure. Then refit the top cover and the remaining parts. And then, if like this, the engine should run much smoother and much quieter and fault free, and the car will feel much better to drive. This has been how to fix it. Thanks for watching, and as I promised, here's the links to the Linktree page where you can find all the parts that I used on this project and also many of our other videos. And if that's not enough for you, there's some more great videos for you to watch right now, right here.